Get going. Awesome. So we are recording this call for anyone who is going to miss it. I'm Melissa Kramer. Super glad to have you on our call tonight. Excited to be sharing something that I will be honest was kind of intimidating and scary at first when I started reading the emails coming from compliance, and compliance is just a really nice word for legal, and that's not my thing at all. And so I thought it was a little bit scary, and I have done a bunch of training on it and watched a lot of videos from people much smarter than me and much more well-versed in this stuff. And so I have great notes and lots of information to condense down and share with you tonight. So I think, honestly, after going through the training myself, I feel really confident in this and comfortable with it. And I think it's a really great change for us. So I hope that you all feel the same when we finish. So don't be afraid of this. It's really not that bad. And I think in many ways it makes things much easier for us. So I hope that helps to kind of calm your nerves or whatever. So first, I want to start with some administrative stuff like I always do. We have tons and tons and tons of contests going on right now. We have monthly contests, which you can find on my team page. There is up to $1,000 worth of prizes, cash, being given away this month if and when, because we are going to become an Emerald team. So I know that's going to happen, but I have smaller prizes if we don't, and then I have larger prizes when we do. And so no prizes are going to be given out until the end of the month because we're going to turn Emerald, and then I'll give out all the bigger prizes. We have weekly contests going on as well. So tonight after this call, I will announce the winner for week 2. We just started a new contest this week for week 3, started today. And if you have 100 PV and you post a compliant personal testimony this week, which you're all going to know how to do after tonight, then you are going to be eligible for that contest. And there's this could be my pink drink cup, which is like a coffee cup, but it could be your pink drink. And then also a Plexus swag t-shirt that you can win with that. So go back on my page and find that. To get 100 PV, you can order your own product. You can have a customer already order. You can get a new customer this week. Or you can even go in and order like 3-day trials. I have one right here. I bought 15 3-day trials a couple weeks ago. I love these. They are a fantastic way. They're $11.99 for someone to buy from me. I usually sell them for $10 because it's easier for me. But they are a great way to get people interested because they taste the pink drink, they get a little bit of the accelerator, and then they're like, I want more. So this is a great way to spend your money. If you want the 100 PV this week and don't have your products coming out yet, or already, whatever, don't need products, whatever, but want that 100 PV, that's a great way to do it. And also you can turn around and sell all of those and get some people interested in becoming your customers. So I hope that helps to start. We are not going to have a testimony tonight like we normally do because we're going to talk about lots and lots and lots of testimonies tonight, so there's really no point in that. So let's dig right in with me sharing my screen. All right. Okay, so Compliance 101, that's where we're starting tonight. The lifeblood of your business is sharing testimonies with people. We are constantly sharing our own testimony, sharing someone else's testimony, either in a post on Facebook, face-to-face with somebody, using videos, social media, whether we're on Facebook or Instagram, or a lot of people hang out in other social media, Twitter, etc. I am a Facebook girl, but wherever you are, that's how we're making money, is sharing these face-to-face stories. And that's how we're changing lives, is by using these face-to-face sharing in other social media, et cetera, these stories. So when you're sharing your story, you have to remember that we are essentially the same as far as the FDA is concerned, we are the same as any over-the-counter vitamin or supplement you can find at Walmart, at Target, at Whole Foods. We are no better or no worse in their minds. So while we recognize that our products are much better, and while we recognize that our products do incredible things, we cannot make claims that go outside of the scope of what we are allowed to say. We are not a pharmaceutical company. We do not have the types of policies and procedures that pharmaceuticals have. We don't go through the double-blind placebo, blah, blah, blah kind of studies. You know, that's not what natural holistic products do. That's not our role. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And because of that, we have a certain set of standards we have to live by, and then pharmaceuticals have another set of standards. So you just kind of have to remember that although we're incredible and we have amazing products, we have very set guidelines as to what we are allowed to say. And so that's kind of what legal has been telling us. So what can we say? And we're going to go get into a lot of detail about this, so don't stress about this, and I can post this as a PDF, so don't feel like you have to take all these notes. Things you can say are examples: calcium builds strong bones. That's true. That does not make any kind of a medical claim. That does not talk about a medical disease. You can say fiber helps maintain digestive regularity. And these are things that came straight from corporate. That does not make medical claims. That does not say anything about a disease. We're just talking about fiber helps digestive regularity, calcium builds strong bones. These are truthful nutrition, dietary information. They call that structure or function. So what is the reason for the product? What is the function it has in your body? Okay, so what is permissible? We really don't have to figure that out for ourselves. Plexus is going to tell us what is and is not permissible. In the future, over the next few weeks and months, Plexus is going to start to provide us more marketing materials. We're going to have more images that we can share. We're going to have more, PDFs and JPEGs and whatever that are going to be able to be used. But in the meantime, we really have what we've always had, and those are testimonies. And so what we need to do is make sure that our testimonies are not making claims about diseases, instead are just talking about the structure and function of a product. And those words are just big, and I'm going to make this very simple in a minute. Let me tell you one thing here. I'm an accountant. Y'all know I love to say this. I am an accountant. That is what I do, okay? Not anymore, but that is what I did. I am not claiming to completely understand legal. I am not claiming that I know everything we need to know. I want you to know today that what we know today is not what's going to be true 6 months from now. It's not what's going to be true a year from now. What we know today is what we need to know today, and what we need to do the very best to do today, because that's what we know. We can only do what we know. And so I don't want you to stress about, well, what if, such and such happens in the future? Or what if, 6 months from now you watch this video and you're going, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Like, no, that's not at all how this works. This is how it works today. The reason we have to go through all this is because we are regulated by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the FDA as a nutrition and dietary supplement, which is great. They have rules and regulations that we have to follow. We always should have been following these rules and regulations, but we haven't been because we were laying way under the radar. Nobody knew who Plexus was. We were this tiny, tiny little company. We could say anything we wanted because nobody was paying any attention to us. Well, the really cool thing about this is that people are paying attention now because we are a really growing, large company. And with a growing large company means we have to follow more of the rules because we are being watched in a good way. We're being watched because we are becoming known. We are being watched because we are a larger portion of the industry because we've made it so many years being, a growing company, all really good things that make it so that we're now showing up under people's radar, which is really good. It really, really is good that we've gotten to this point. So you cannot use words like arthritis, fibromyalgia, depression. You have to be really careful. Those are medical diagnosis and medical claims. Instead, you want to use what people call just expressive adjectives, I think is the way I heard it. So you just want to get into a lot of detail of how you feel, not using those medical terms. So instead of saying, I have pain and stiffness associated with arthritis, I'm going to say, helps maintain joint health and flexibility, helps maintain a healthy heart, Alleviates the occasional blue feeling everyone experiences from time to time. You're not going to say, I was so depressed. I just felt down. I just never wanted to get out of bed. Just saying, I never wanted to get out of bed, someone's going to go, oh my gosh, me too. You don't have to know that you were labeled depressed, labeled anxious. You know, the label doesn't matter. People relate to the feeling, that feeling like I could not get out of bed in the morning. My legs felt so heavy and I just couldn't get up. That's what people relate to. They don't need that label depression. So don't stress over the fact that you can't say fibromyalgia, arthritis, depression, etc. Another great example I heard this week was with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and chronic pain, stuff like that. You could say something like, I mean, if this were true, the testimony might say something like, it hurt so much, or arthritis, you know, whatever. It hurt so much to even pick up a cup of coffee in the day. My hands hurt so badly I couldn't even knit anymore. Those are feelings that people really understand. They don't have to hear the word arthritis to know, oh my gosh, my hands hurt so bad too. Your hands don't hurt anymore? No, my hands don't hurt anymore. I found these amazing products. You've got to tell me more. Do you see how you never had to say arthritis? You never had to say fibromyalgia. You give the symptoms of how you felt and how it debilitated your life, and you get the same effect. So, more examples. We cannot talk about cholesterol levels. We cannot talk about blood pressure levels. We cannot talk about blood sugar levels. Those are all medical terminology. You know, they do say that you can say that it helps maintain cholesterol levels already within the normal range. I don't find that to be very helpful, but you can say that. But you can say your body was balanced. I got my body balanced. We had so many different challenges and struggles, and finally my body is balanced. My husband was constantly dealing with different health issues in and out of the doctor, and finally his body is balanced. I haven't actually said what the details of that are, but again, people want that balance. They want that normal. They want to feel what it is you feel. Helps maintain proper joint function. Helps maintain blood pressure levels already within the normal range. See, what they're saying is you can't say it lowers or increases blood pressure, but it just maintains it in a normal range. I guess you could say that. I don't find that very helpful, but you can say my body is now balanced. Cannot use words, some of these make me laugh. Cannot use words such as antibacterial, antiseptic, antibiotic, antidepressant, vaccine. Essentially, again, over and over, they're going to tell you, don't use medical terminology. Even if you are a medical person, if you have a medical background, you cannot connect your medical background and plexus. These two things have to be kept separate. So when you're talking about plexus, when you're posting about plexus, do not throw in medical knowledge, whether you have 17 degrees and thousands of reasons why you know this is true. It doesn't matter. You cannot connect your medical knowledge with plexus at any time. So again, you cannot talk about antiviral capacities, using antibiotics, alleviating depression. You can talk about maintaining proper immune function, reducing stress and tension, restoring intestinal flora. A great place to find wording that you can use is on our products. Every single one of our products, everything on our website, 100% okay to use. Everything that Plexus says, 100% okay to use. So if they make a claim that it restores the intestinal flora on our ProBio 5, you can say that. If they make a claim that the BioCleanse helps with relieving constipation, you can say that. Anything that corporate has said, we are allowed to say. Anything it says on your website, we are allowed to say. So it's a great place to start to learn, you know, when you're kind of questioning, gosh, can I say this? You know, then that's a great place to find out whether it's something you can say. And if you're concerned, then you can just say something completely non-medical like, I did not go to the bathroom often enough. I felt terrible. I felt sluggish. You don't have to say I was constipated to, again, get that same idea across to people. So this is just more legal mumbo jumbo. But just because a claim is identified as permissible structure function does not mean that we can claim it for a Plexus product. We have to have substantiation to make a claim. So for instance, if our Probiotic 5 did not help replenish gut flora, but every other probiotic does, but ours just for some reason did not do that, we cannot say our probiotic will help with gut flora if it actually doesn't. Like it's essentially saying you can't lie. So we cannot start making up things that our products do. We cannot just start saying, hey, and our product is going to, I have no idea. I can't even think of anything, but any kind of just random off the wall question, statement that you can make that isn't something that Plexus has claimed, then you can't claim that. So lots of legal mumbo jumbo. That's the hard part. This is the easy part where we actually start to apply it. And the applying is really not that bad. I see Heather asked a question about labs. Hey, Heather, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes. Hang on. Let me go to a quieter room.
You're fine. I can hear you great.
Okay. I was just wondering about saying if your labs are normal. Like not necessarily what part of the labs, just...
You cannot talk about anything in blood work labs. So it really has to be very non-medical is what it really comes down to. You can say things like, I feel so much better. I was so tired. I'm not anymore. My doctor's really happy. Just very vague without saying my blood work is incredible or my blood work got so much better. You just have to really work around it in a very vague way. But no, you cannot talk about blood work because blood work ties to medical knowledge. You essentially can't claim to have medical knowledge that we really don't. Like as an accountant, I really know nothing medical and I have to keep it that way. So no, sorry. Now, with that said, what you send privately to someone versus what you publicly put on Facebook are two different things. If I'm talking to my mom and I want her to try this because my husband no longer is on cholesterol and blood pressure medicine, that's what I'm going to tell my mom privately. I'm not going to put it in writing necessarily. I'm certainly not going to put it in a public format where I'm putting it out on Facebook, but I could, say, gosh, I'm going to send you a picture of my blood work. You've got to try these products or whatever privately. Same with these testimonies that we already have that we know are not compliant. We are not going to put them out on our Facebook wall anymore. But, until we're really told differently, if somebody were asking us, well, would it help with fibromyalgia? I personally would say, okay, I'm just going to private message you this testimony. You've got to read it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to put it out publicly. I'm just going to one-to-one, friend to friend. It's not going to be a group chat. It's not going to be a Facebook event. It's not going to be anything big. It's just going to be a one-on-one conversation with somebody, or I'm going to print screen it and I'm going to text it to them or whatever so they can see some of that more detailed information. So I see I have more questions. I'll get back to the questions in a little bit. So we never say that we heal diseases. We never say that we cure diseases, and we never say that we can diagnose a disease. And I know there are a lot of people on this call who are saying, oh my gosh, but I have blank and I don't deal with that anymore, or I had blank and my body, doesn't have that anymore. You guys know that I have an autoimmune disease and I have zero symptoms of that anymore. I get it. It's just not something that we can claim. And part of the reason is because we can't promise that that's going to be true for everyone. Everyone with my autoimmune disease is not going to be healed by these products. Actually, nobody is. If I stop taking the products, I still have that disease. But we don't know that they're going to work for everyone, and we can't give that false hope. We can say, like for mine's a massive GI issue. I can say, I no longer have to worry when I eat a meal that I'm not going to make it to the next bathroom. I can say that I don't have to worry about eating 3 meals a day anymore, that, I used to only be able to eat 1 meal a day. I can say symptoms. I used to wake up and tell my husband that I needed to go back to bed. I was exhausted because I wasn't, eating enough food to sustain my energy. I can give a lot of symptoms and how it affected my body without actually giving the disease. So when you're talking about making your own testimony, which is really important, obviously, to all of us, you really have to think about what is really special about your plexus journey. We don't want to give tons and tons of detail. We don't want to make our testimony this long. Y'all, we have to be short and sweet. People have the attention span of a gnat these days. It's terrible. I'm the same. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you make me scroll too far, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's ridiculous. If I have to hit that see more button, that makes your post bigger, I'm not going to do it. It's sad, but it's true. You want to have something that really draws people in and leaves them wanting to know more. So you want to have something that's 4 or 5 sentences or lines long, and then can be reduced down even more than that. You want to write down the things that were stopping you from enjoying life to the fullest. So you really want to think about, truly, what were you missing out on in life? Were you exhausted? Excuse me, I love some of these buzzwords. Exhausted, great word. Silently suffering is fantastic. And again, none of this came from me. This is all from trainings I've watched. Were you having problems closing your hands, knitting, taking a cup of coffee across the room? What things were stopping you from enjoying life, enjoying your career, or enjoying time with your family? And it's very descriptive. You want to describe how you felt. You want to describe why it was affecting your life. And you want to describe how you feel now with plexus. So Ame Darling is amazing. You guys should watch every single product video she's ever created. She is a holistic nutritionist and an emerald, maybe a sapphire now. I think she's still an emerald ambassador with plexus. And I am going to show you a really quick video. And since I have to get out of my share screen, I'm going to answer your questions now. No. So can you say anything that is true that happened to you? Example, my blood work results have improved. No, we cannot say that. That is a medical claim. You can talk about ways that you feel better. You can talk about ways that your body is healthier. You cannot make medical claims, and blood work absolutely is a medical claim. What about all the wonderful testimonies that are already out there? Do we need to take those down? I would say ones that are on your personal Facebook page, I would not take down until we're told we need to. I don't think it's going to come to that. I think it's going to be just do better. We know more moving forward. And I would just from this point forward start looking at a testimony, and I'm going to show you some examples. Looking at a testimony, looking at things that are good about it and things that need to be tweaked about it, making those quick, edits, and then putting it out there. I have edited numerous testimonies in the last few days as I've been trying to learn how to do this. I think Renee or someone said to me the other day, is that how that testimony came, or did you edit that? I was like, and I edited that because it said arthritis, it said depression, and I just changed it a little bit. I actually took the quotations off because I hadn't fully quoted her anymore. Don't worry about putting disclaimers at the end of your post. 2 reasons for that. The disclaimer is not really legally standing, and so it doesn't really do any good. And I think it makes every single post look really salesy. It doesn't look genuine. It doesn't look authentic. It just looks like an ad. Because, if you think about an ad on TV at the bottom, it's got that, FDA claim, this drug doesn't blah, 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 all that. To me, in my opinion, that's, first of all, they've already said it doesn't do any good. But secondly, I think it makes it look less authentic and less genuine and less relational. So, coming off meds, you have to be really careful about how you say that. You can certainly skirt around it and say something like, I'm spending so much less time at Walgreens picking things up, or I have so much less I have to worry about in the morning. I take my products and don't have to worry about taking anything else. I mean, there has to be, I'd have to think to be, I'm an accountant, but you have to think of other ways to say it instead of, you can't say, I came off 7 meds. You have to think of a different way to spin that and say the same thing without using those words. Weight loss so far, we're good, but I would start thinking in pant sizes, in clothing sizes, again, kind of more generically, more open and broad. you know, and really, if you think about it, the amount of, we constantly say the number on the scale doesn't matter, the number on the scale doesn't matter. And yet when we lose 25 pounds, 50 pounds, 53 pounds, we want to shout it out to everybody. And then the next day we go, but the number on the scale doesn't matter. So what if we change our thought process and start saying, I lost 27 inches. I went from a size 14 to a size 6. I went down 7 sizes. I had to buy a whole new wardrobe. You know, things like that are really very authentic and very genuine as well, without giving a number on a scale. Because honestly, how many times have you seen and said, the number on the scale doesn't matter? Well, then why do we keep talking about it? So just something to think about. We have not been told we can't share weight loss. So far we are good with that, but it is something to think about. Pictures are totally powerful and make huge change statements. Yes, they are not going to tell you your pictures are not compliant. You know, Liza has this awesome picture that still to this day I love, and it's her first pair of jeans, and then her second and her third and her fourth, or what, she's probably on like her 8th pair of jeans now. She's awesome. But anyway, doesn't matter. But it's just that visual of her body getting thinner, and the scale doesn't matter when you're looking at something like that. Or there's an incredible testimony, which I do believe is compliant. The last time I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally compliant, which is a husband and wife, and it's what they look like in their 30s and then what they look like in their 40s. Holy cow. I mean, that picture says so much. And I'm 99% sure that when I read through that, because I've read a lot of testimonies for this training, totally compliant. Never talked about blood pressure, never talked about blood sugars, nothing. It was very generically, awesomely compliant. It was really, really good. Yes, absolutely. So what you're saying is we can take established testimonies and make them compliant by changing words. Yes, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. This is obviously not going to be a 30-minute training, so we're just going to keep going. Y'all can stick with me. I'm going to show you this 2 or 3 minute video, and then we're going to keep moving through the rest. There it is.
What I would say,
can you hear that?
What I would say, hi, my name is Almay Darling. I'm super excited to tell you about my story. Before Plexus, I used to be an excited vegan running mama, and I turned and went south and gained a lot of weight, was having problems with mood. I was having problems with exhaustion. I needed a nap every afternoon. I was yelling at my kids. I couldn't live my life fully, and my poor husband was dealing with all of that. Since starting with Plexus, I have seen a huge change, even better than before, where I can feel like I have control over my life. I'm thriving. I'm making quality decisions with all of my diet. I'm enjoying exercise like I never did before. And it's been so much fun to be able to be part of that, the company that has allowed me to do that and share it with others. That's
okay. So did you hear what she said? She never said any disease she had, which actually she has multiple. If you go look her up, she has multiple diseases that she deals with. But she talked about how she felt before, how it affected her life, and how she feels now. I mean, I think she just does an exemplary job of doing this. She talks about buzzwords. You can talk about your monthly cycles instead of making PCOS claims. You can talk about how you're exhausted, how you were at a very unhealthy weight and now you're at a healthier weight, how your body is getting balanced. She does a whole nother video on Rock the Pink Live. It was back in January. If you guys want to look it up, Rock the Pink Live is awesome. They're a YouTube channel. It is Tim and Michelle Thomas, and they had her on back in January, and it's like 45 minutes long, but it's a great training where she talks about a lot of this stuff, and she says, you know, just tell people, I help people get their bodies balanced. I help people stop being exhausted all day. And those are huge buzzwords that people are like, what? I want that, you know? I'm looking for more. She talks about how mean she was to her husband, how she was always yelling at her kids. She talks about losing hair in another video. She talks about how she was losing her hair and it was killing her self-esteem. I mean, these are things that people can really relate to. And she talks about how when we're creating this testimony this way, where we're not using diseases, because I don't have her disease, but I can 100%, and I bet a lot of you can too, relate to the yelling at your kids, crabby with your husband, exhausted, and yet I do not have the same disease she does. So the disease would have made us separate, and the words she chose to use unify us, and I can be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally feel like that. I understand, and it would have been something that would have just sucked me in. She talks about widening your net, because when you use this kind of more generic feeling about the products and how they make you feel and how you felt before, how they make you feel now, that you can actually draw in more people who relate. Yes, exactly. People relate to feelings more than the disease. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You got it. That's right. So, what words would you use for anxiety? I would say anxious. I felt anxious all the time. I mean, honestly, I would say what I felt like. For me, anxiety was, I was constantly unnerved. My kids were driving me crazy. I felt like my skin was crawling. I didn't want to leave my house. I hated going out and being around people. That's what anxiety felt like to me. What anxiety feels like to you, you have to describe it. You have to share what that feeling felt like. You know, I mean, yeah, I was on edge. I was constantly snapping at people. I cried all the time. Whatever that feels like for you is what you've got to say. And now I go out of the house all the time, and my kids don't grate on my nerves as much as they did. And I don't wait for 7 o'clock like it's the golden time every day. You know, I mean, whatever it is that you feel. Yes, thank you. You guys keep more words coming. I like it. Okay. Trying to see what else. So she definitely talks about using those power words. Before plexus, I this. Since plexus, I something new. So that's just the way that we want to kind of start thinking about our own testimony. Before plexus, I felt this way. Since plexus, I feel this new way. Yeah, totally. Give your symptoms, not your diagnosis. Absolutely. All right, so let's look at real fast. It's only 9:30. We're doing good. I'm going back to share my screen, so I can't see as much of what y'all say anymore. So don't overthink it. Focus on what you were missing, where plexus has brought you. If you don't have a testimonial yet, that's okay. Focus on what you're looking forward to. You know where you were or where you are. You know, if you are sluggish, if you are feeling antsy, if you are driven crazy by your kids, I mean, it's life. We can be real. And I'm so looking forward to feeling more relaxed. I'm so looking forward to being less on edge, you know, whatever, my body being balanced, you know, whatever. You can totally create a testimony even if you're not there yet, and trust that you are going to get there. It's awesome. Okay. So is this compliant? You guys can look through this, and I mean, we don't even have to read the whole thing. I can see right now, this is not compliant. And I hope you all can see why. Kind of mentally, I see some people like nodding their heads like, yep, I see it. We got points off our cholesterol, points off our triglycerides, blood sugars, talking about being a diabetic. No, we can't say that anymore. Depression, anxiety, migraines. Okay, we haven't talked about that one. Lots and lots of people don't have migraines anymore. Y'all, you've got to think of another way to say it. You've got to say, I would have headaches. Headaches are not a medical diagnosis. Headaches are just a part of life. I would have headaches that would have me under the covers, with the lights off for 3 days. That I would cry and so hard and they would hurt so bad I would be violently ill. That I couldn't be around my family. Anyone speaking made me want to throw up. You know, whatever. I mean, describe it. Get descriptive, and somebody's going to go, oh my gosh, I have headaches like that too. My doctor said I have migraines. Well, let me tell you about these products and how they've helped me. You don't have to say, I have migraines too. You just say, let me tell you about these amazing products. Plantar fasciitis. My feet would hurt so bad before I got out of bed in the morning that I didn't even want to take that first step. Shoes killed. I needed special inserts in my shoes. You know, the pain was debilitating. I thought I was, you know, just not even going to be able to walk that day. You can describe what these things feel like. You don't have to say what the disease is. Okay, so look at my underlining. Can't talk about the prescription meds. Can't talk about the chronic fatigue, the IBS, constipation. You know, I could say I have IBS, or I did, whatever. You know, I had no idea when I was going to be running to the bathroom. I would be running to the bathroom one day, and then I wouldn't go to the bathroom for 4 days. I had no idea whether a meal was going to sit well in my stomach or whether it was coming right back out. I was afraid to eat in restaurants. I was embarrassed to eat with my friends. Honest, this is the truth. I would not go out to eat with friends for 6 years because I didn't know how things were going to go. So I just stopped going to restaurants. So those are the types of things you can say instead of the IBS. So let's look at this one. Is this compliant? So this is one of the ones that I edited the other day. If you look, I'll skip straight to it. Okay, so this is one of the ones I edited the other day. She talks about being in the hospital and feeling depressed, battling insomnia, having Hashimoto's, medications being cut in half, extreme fatigue, plantar fasciitis, even needed surgery. So here's how I posted this the other day. Kate shares how she no longer battles these feelings and is ready to live her life to the fullest. See, this is just she feels utterly down and sad and unhealthy. Again, I'm an accountant. I'm not going to come up with really great things, but she feels refreshed for the first time in years. She's able to sleep through the night. Her mood is lifted. No more cloudy thoughts. No more extreme exhaustion. Her skin is clear. The horrible aching in her feet is gone. And again, I had kind of re-quoted her, so I took the quotes off it. Just because clearly this was not exactly how she said it, but it made it a compliant testimony, and I don't really feel like it really lost anything. I really feel like we still add a lot of value, and look at her pictures. She's doing incredible, and she's no longer feeling unhappy and sad and, whatever. Another compliant testimony. Nothing wrong with this testimony. Hair looks great and thick. Why do I share plexus? Suffering from hair loss. I did not put... or she did not, I didn't have to change this. She did not put alopecia. She did not put that medical terminology. Hair loss is just hair falling out. Wasn't with a diagnosis. Great testimony. Before plexus, I couldn't keep up with my kids physically or mentally. I was scared of certain foods. Hello, me too. I didn't enjoy the change of seasons. How great is that? You don't have to say you have allergies. You could just say, oh gosh, spring just was not good, I didn't enjoy time with my family. Social events were overwhelming to me. That's probably anxiety. I'm able to eat good food with no fear. I enjoy the change of seasons, love being outside, yada, yada, yada. Do y'all see how that's saying? You can read through the lines there. You know what she suffered with. This is it. Yeah, I did put it in here. This is an amazing testimony. And seriously, those pictures, wow, I have not posted this one yet, but I'm totally going to. They never, ever, ever, ever talk about a disease in any of this. Probably were diabetic, probably had all kinds of things, but it doesn't matter. This testimony is incredible. Never exercised, drank soda like it was water, freezer full of processed food, blah, 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 blah. Struggled to make ends meet financially. Ate sugar at every opportunity, and then bam, 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 how they feel and how they're doing now. And this is another great one where she has significant weight loss and just talks about, she actually doesn't even give exact pounds that she's at. She just talks about, I'm down from, I've reached over 100 pounds. I'm down from the 300s into the 200s, whatever. At the end, she does say, I've lost 115 pounds and 20 points BMI. But a lot of what she says is using different words. And again, as far as I know, so far, weight loss is compliant. Now, again, 3 months from now, we might have to change that a little bit. But as of today, let's just go with what we know, and we make the best of what we know, and we just move forward from there. Yay. Okay. So tell me what your questions are. I see this thing blowing up. So let me scroll back and see. Yep, we're going to describe migraines. Sensitive to light, had to lay down in the dark. Totally. Stabbing pains in the head. Fantastic. Yep. You guys are so cute. Yes, we do have this. It's really not that bad, is it? It's kind of once you kind of hear about it, you're like, okay, I can totally do that. It might be better and get more people's attention. Absolutely. Makes it heartfelt and personable. Yeah, absolutely. And it does have more of that feel, felt, found. Not everybody is going to, I've actually never met, I know 2 people in the world who have my disease. It's a very, very, very rare disease. But I can tell you that I bet 90% of you could relate to my symptoms. even though none of you have the disease that I have. So really, that is huge in how you relate to people. I honestly, after I watched these trainings, I thought, gosh, I kind of wish I had known this for the last 20 months, because I feel like some of the testimonies I've posted would have been more relatable if I had known these tips. I think it's going to be really, really good for us to do this. So I want to help you all. In case you don't know, I'm very type A, very, very type A. And so I know you're laughing. So I love being able to like and comment on as many of your posts as I can every day. I mean, I truly enjoy that, but I don't, going forward, want to like and comment on posts that are not compliant, because we're going to get in trouble if we don't follow these rules. So I wanted to kind of have like a buzz code that I am going to share as my comment on your post if it is not compliant, so that you know it's not going to be negative, it's not going to be mean, it's not going to be detrimental to your post, which is if you see this phrase that I'm saying, then you know, this probably wasn't the greatest post, and let's next time make it a little better. Message me, message your upline. How could that post have been better? Melissa says this isn't compliant. You know, this is a learning process. I'm not thinking every one of us, including myself, y'all think I post something that isn't compliant, please tell me, because I need to learn as much as you do. But whatever you can do to kind of keep each other accountable and help each other, I think is going to be good. So I'm going to say, wow, isn't that an interesting testimony? Okay? When I write, wow, isn't that an interesting testimony on your post, that is just going to be my really sweet way of saying, I don't think this is compliant. Okay? Because I want to help you. And I want all of us to be the very best ambassadors that we can be. And this does not have to be scary. It doesn't have to be stressful. But obviously, we're all going to learn and grow together. So, wow, isn't that an interesting testimony? When you see that, go to your upline or just reread it. Come to me, whatever. And let's just work going forward to make them more compliant. Thank you. I am funny, aren't I? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so... Yes. All right. So hold on. So could you post something in a status and not state anything about plexus? Like, I just got home from the doctor, my blood sugar is down, but not mention plexus. No, that's a great question though. So that's a great question, because we are all tied to plexus now. Everyone knows we do plexus. So just because in testimony A, I don't mention the word plexus, and testimony B, I do, people are not going to be faked out. The FDA is not going to be faked out by one thing talking about blood sugars and the next thing talking about plexus, but they weren't talked about together. You know what I mean? Everyone knows what we do. Everyone knows what we share. So again, if you want to privately send something to someone, then until we're told differently, I think that's fine. But as far as being on your personal wall, I mean, if you want to say, gosh, had my annual appointment today and, you know, 2 thumbs up, what a great day. Or, you know, can't remember the last time that I had to, you know, pay a copay, or, you know, be vague, be different about it. Again, I'm an accountant. I'm not going to come up with great ideas on the spot, but do not talk about blood work. Do not talk about blood sugars down. None of that kind of stuff. My body is leveling out. My body is balancing. I feel so much better when I wake up in the morning. And again, talk about what blood sugars do. I no longer feel that like high and low. I no longer feel really great and then crash 2 minutes later. I never, you know, feel like I need a nap at 2 p.m. anymore. All those symptomatic, how does that feel when your blood sugar's off, you can talk about without talking about your blood sugar. Keep it short and simple. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Sam said, I'm blessed to be fairly healthy, no chronic conditions. That almost stopped me from trying it because I didn't think it would help me. Yeah, so wrong. I know, it helps all of us. It really does. And this is going to be great for everybody. Milk production and multiplying the milk. Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, that's a good question. I would spin that in it is so much easier to feed my baby. I don't stress about whether I'm going to be able to feed my baby every day. I don't have to be concerned about whether about whether I'm going to be able to feed my child, something like that. Just totally not talking about the actual milk supply, but talking about, however you feel, that there's no more anxiety about whether I'm going to be ready to feed my baby each time he wants to eat, or, there's other ways to say that without actually saying, I've got this great milk supply. You know what I mean? I don't know. I never breastfed, but you know what I mean? There's other ways to say that for sure. I know. What about the guy who doesn't need glasses anymore because of taking X Factor? I mean, hello. On that post, I said, I don't use reading glasses anymore because of my X Factor. It's crazy. Yeah, Virginia, I'm skipping that for a second. Virginia says, I had a much better experience nursing the second time around. Right. Yeah. Don't say the word breastfeeding. That is probably a medical thing. It's not really a disease or diagnosis, but, yeah. Right. It's not a medical term or condition, but I think they would probably claim that, there's probably drugs out there that help with that. And so we have to be careful about how we word it. Just be careful about how you word it. And again, until we are really told you cannot say this, then just do the best you can. You know what I mean? Just try to think of descriptive ways to say things instead of using kind of those normal used terminology. The eyeglasses, I don't know. I'll have to think on that one. I would personally say something to the effect of, it's so great to be able to read a book anytime, anywhere, and not be concerned about lighting or, you know what I mean? It feels so great to just sit down to the computer and be able to see everything that's on the screen. I haven't actually said that I need glasses in that, but I've definitely said that, there must be something about my vision that has changed. It feels so good not to have to worry about putting my contacts on first thing in the morning and just being able to go about my day. Again, just some sort of other way to spin it, that you're not saying my vision is better, but you are saying the things that are affected. I don't have to worry about having my glasses in my purse every time I leave the house. I don't have to worry about not being able to read my fine print Bible, which was true on Sunday. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually reading this thing. Like, this is awesome. So something like that would be how I would say that. All right. Other questions before we end this? Going once? Awesome. Okay. Don't forget about our contest this week. Get your testimony written. If you want to private message it to me, feel free ahead of time. I would be happy to read any and all. Truly, I 100% mean it. Any and all testimonies, or send it to your upline, send it to a power partner, send it to a friend, a sideline, whatever, and y'all share testimonies. And then this week, you're going to share your testimony in this new compliant way, and then have your 100 PV, and you're going to be in for our contest for this week. Everybody share your testimony this week. You guys can do this. It will be a great, quick exercise to make sure that you really learned what we have going on here. You're all very, very welcome. Love y'all. Have a good night. Bye.